Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? It's been a crazy week. It is, what is it, October 4th, Venus Day. Like literally Venus Day. It is 2:12 in the morning. Pacific Standard Time is the moon hour. The moon is still in Libra, and we just had a new moon in Libra, which was the solar eclipse, South Node solar eclipse. So it's been a few weeks, and a lot has transpired since then. I hope everybody is really doing well, and gosh, the United States is just, I don't know what. Well, I mean, actually, that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. There's some crazy, gnarly things that I noticed in the USA chart and the USA secondary progress chart. And the secondary progress chart is like another technique to kind of gauge the evolution of a person, a country. I mean, there's a chart for everything. And countries have charts too. And so the USA's secondary progress chart is pretty lit up with the current transits. And so it's crazy, like all of the transits that are happening right now. So you can feel the energies, I'm sure, like things are starting to really percolate, if they haven't already been boiling. And it's been hot recently. Like we've had this heat wave. I mean, even in San Francisco, it's been sweltering. Like I know mid 80s is pretty cool for the rest of the country, but I mean, there's no AC in most of the buildings in San Francisco. And if you want shade, unless you live in the suburbs, like in the city, it's difficult to have a car, say you're on foot or you're on a bike under the sun. So it's been sweltering hot. And Mars, the ruler of Aries and Scorpio, is in the sign of Cancer. And Mars is related to heat and aggression and war and, not being happy. It's not a very happy energy. And in the sign of Cancer right now, it's doing a lot of things. I think the last time I spoke, I talked about how Mars was going to be conjunct dog star Sirius, and that happened on the 29th of September. And that's when Hurricane Helene hit. And what's interesting is the United States sun is also at 13 Cancer. So the United States sun is conjunct the dog star Sirius. So, you think of Big Man on Campus and like the dog star Sirius, that's where the term sir comes from, is Sirius, because it's like, yes sir, like highly regarded, kind of like demands respect. And in the sign of Cancer is very protective energy. Like Cancer is all about the mother and the family and defending one's property, your territory, your family. So it means business. And on the 29th, Mars was conjunct the dog star Sirius and the USA sun. I think I also mentioned like a few videos back how like the United States is going to really shoot itself in the foot. Like there's also a opposition of Neptune that the United States is experiencing right now. The United States natal Neptune is in Virgo, and the transiting Neptune is in Pisces. And so when there's a Neptune opposition, it's pretty much like a thinning of the veil. Like secrets are exposed. There's a lot of false promises and no accountability. Neptune in Virgo wants to put this facade on as being very helpful and orderly and organized, and healthy. But with the opposition to the transiting Neptune and Pisces is water, it's dissolving those illusions. So like just washing away, just eroding those lies, and we can see a lot of exposure. There's also, I mean, like people are being really resourceful, especially with Jupiter and Gemini. There's resourcefulness is off the charts, and especially with AI now available, ChatGPT, you can get pretty much information on anything. And even the underground investigators, like I forget the guy's name on I think he started on TikTok. I see him on Instagram, but he is really exposing. I think it's like, don't buy these clothes, or don't buy this clothing brand, or something like that. He's got like long hair, a mustache, really thorough investigations, I guess you could say. But there was another person who she was exposing how the resources in Asheville, North Carolina, which is lithium, is something that, the U.S. or the elites, or these people who are these decision-making government bodies are after. They've already, they're opportunistic and, materialistic. And it's funny because the USA's Black Moon Lilith is in Libra at the moment, at 10 degrees, and so it was right on the solar eclipse that we had. So that just, wait, let me see. No, it's at 17 degrees. The USA secondary progressed Black Moon Lilith is at 17 degrees. And the transiting Black Moon Lilith is at 10 degrees. And so, before we know it, the USA is going to also have a Black Moon Lilith return. And so, so let me get back to Asheville. So there's lithium in North Carolina that this TikToker, I forget what, like these, on the boots kind of investigator, like for mainstream purposes, they're considered conspiracy theorists, but, I don't think conspiracy theorists are a bad thing, because they're exposing the lies. And like all these conspiracy theories have proven to be true. Like you just give it like 6 months and lo and behold. But so she was saying how there's been manipulation, weather manipulation with these hurricanes to divert the hurricane's trajectory and kind of like make it hit this area so that it can be a disaster area. Kind of like, what happened in Hawaii. Like people talked about this weird, powdery substance that was floating in the air the day before these big winds came through and destroyed the island. And, we can't put it past them to completely wipe out an entire island. Now in North Carolina, it's like an entire state, pretty much. It's got the western side of North Carolina, and then parts of northern Georgia, parts of like Greenville, that area. But the resources, the lithium resources, are in Asheville, North Carolina. And it's interesting, there's another astrocartographer, oh gosh, what is her name? She lives in Paris right now. I can link her info below. She had discovered that there is a Neptune, Uranus.
Just me, or is it an interesting correlation with the Neptune line in the United States birth chart and astrocartography map? Neptune, representing water, goes right through this section of Florida, right here, up through Georgia, up through South Carolina, North Carolina, in Asheville, and it meets up with that Uranus line right up in that corner of Asheville, North Carolina. Neptune being...
Okay, so it's the United States Neptune line crossing the Uranus line. And so I'm curious if lithium is represented by Uranus or Neptune. Neptune is connected to water. I guess it would be connected to Uranus because it deals with batteries, and Uranus is connected to electricity. But that's interesting, and like, just, as I hope it's like common knowledge now how the United States has this colonial mindset and like land grabs, and so we are coming to realize that all of these disasters that have happened in the past, like who knows how far back it goes, but we are realizing that it's starting to add up. Now it's starting to make sense how the FEMA aid is not really, instead of the thought of we're just kind of SOL, we are realizing that the financial aid is being redirected to fund the war. And it's been that way for who knows how long, because how many wars has the United States funded? And it just, it's going to be pissing some people off, that's for sure. We have Mars, so we have Mars in Cancer, And we also have Pluto in Capricorn. So Mars represents masculine, young people. It can be the police force, military, but it's going to be opposing Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto is the powers that be. And in the sign of Capricorn, it would be the people who are, setting the rules and setting the restrictions and saying no. And like, it's crazy how like I'm just seeing these stories of, FEMA employees instructing people to not volunteer to help, not send, aid, to like just not get involved with the disaster and like let it go to shit. And like this is like we're in the process of creating this conflict, which is going to show up as Mars opposing Pluto. And that exact opposition happens, I think, on the 15th of October. On November 2nd. What is it that happens on October 15th? October 15th, the moon will be in Pisces, conjunct Neptune, opposing the United States, Neptune in Virgo. Oh, and also, by the way, the secondary progressed Pluto in the USA chart is at 29 degrees and 38 minutes, and the and 33 minutes, and the transiting Pluto in the sky is at 29 degrees and 38 minutes retrograde. So, between a Pluto return, an upcoming Black Moon Lilith return, a Neptune opposition, and then a Chiron return coming up. The USA's natal Chiron is at 20 degrees Aries, and the transiting Chiron is at 21 degrees currently, and it will be exact November 7th when the moon will be in Aquarius, conjunct the USA's natal moon and south node. So the USA natal south node is in Aquarius, like around 6 degrees Aquarius, and the USA's secondary progressed south node is 25 degrees Capricorn. Which is in a trine to that Neptune in Virgo, which is interesting. I mean, the south node represents like past life. When planets connect to the south node, it's like drawing those past life experiences, those past life tendencies, whatever it might be, whether good or bad, like the shadow sides. I mean, this is the south node. Like, south node is where we want to release and let go of things, and so it deals with the shadow side of whatever sign it's in. With the USA's secondary progressed Neptune in Virgo, retrograde in a trine, USA's secondary progressed south node in Capricorn, it's like this flow of like bad habits, like it's this addictive almost like quality. Like Neptune can be escapism and addictions, and so I don't know, it could be like that illusion, this delusion of control, like this. I don't know, that's a whole nother topic maybe. But it's just wild as I see it, like just kind of just as I look at its chart. But yeah, so there's the Neptune opposition, the Chiron return, and then when Uranus moves into Gemini, will be a Uranus return. So, gosh. Oh, and currently the USA is going through a Venus opposition in the secondary progress chart. Venus is in Taurus, and the transiting Venus is in Scorpio. And that's another thing, too, with Venus in the sign of Scorpio and being the ruler of Libra and the ruler of this solar eclipse. There's a lot of scandals. There's a lot of things being exposed. Like, Scorpio loves the shadows, like loves to dig up the hidden truths. And with Venus being the ruler of Libra and Taurus, like those areas, Libra's partnerships and materialism, like comparing oneself, and Taurus is money, stability, foundation, food systems, with Venus being the ruler of both of these signs in the sign of Scorpio, which likes to like suss out, you know, the hidden truths, there's a lot of things that are coming up that are going to piss people off. And I mean, this is contributing to the contrast that is going to kind of push us to really like take a stand, like stand up. And it's going to be that Mars-Pluto opposition where we're, I mean, it could be like another January 6th scenario, possibly. I'm not condoning anything like that, but people are getting pissed off. And Mars is the ruler of our North Node, which is in Aries, which is all about self reliance and like doing things on your own. And we can see that happening in North Carolina, where, you know, they're not getting any help from the government, and so people are coming together on their own and organizing to help one another out. And so with Mars gathering and organizing to help one another out to survive, this kind of energy is going to oppose Pluto and oppose those people, those powers that currently are, powers that be. And I will probably do, I don't know, I'm like very curious how it's going to play out. I mean, we have a lot going on per usual. But when Mars opposes Pluto on November 7th, and then there's going to be aspects of tension when Mars moves into Leo, and it'll then square like the Scorpio placements because we're going to come into Scorpio season. Like the sign is going to move into Scorpio. Venus is going to be finishing up its time in Scorpio. But then, let's see, Juno will be moving into Scorpio, the Sun, Mercury. So as those planets move into Scorpio, it's going to square the Mars in Leo, and then Mars will retrograde, and it'll oppose Pluto again, and that will be January 2nd. But at the same time, when Mars moves into Leo, it will trine the North Node. So there's going to be a lot of fiery energy. Like people are going to be expressing, taking action, destined, you know, fated action. There's going to be a grand fire trine with the Sun in Sag. That's, you know, I don't want to get too far ahead, but so yeah, Mars is going to square Chiron in a few days actually. So Mars 13th or 14th. So around mid-month, there's going to be it'd be good to like just keep your grounding practices. And you know, Mars is going to square Chiron, and that can be for all of us. You know, like this is going to be a collective energy of Mars squaring Chiron being the wounded healer, and where we have a feeling of being rejected or shamed about like how we identify or who we believe who we are. You know, Chiron, like Aries is your identity and like your outward appearance and like who you believe you are. And then Chiron is the wounded healer. Like Chiron is where we have felt shamed or wounded. There was like some sort of event where, you know, we doubted ourselves and we were, you know, scarred, and it stayed with us and it's one of those things where Chiron is the wounded healer and you never really heal from your wounds, but you learn how to heal and overcome by healing others. But it takes these kinds of squares, these kinds of aspects of tension to get to that point. You know, it's like a like evolving aspect where each planet that makes an aspect to it, whether it's a difficult or a harmonious aspect, each experience brings you to an up-leveling, a spiraling up, like a evolution of that wound where you're learning to accept your wound and really coming into your own. But the square on the 14th from Mars in Cancer to Chiron is really like challenging, like the emotional. It's like an emotional trigger that is challenging us to break away from our comforts, the comforts of our family, or some sort of feeling of home. Like we're breaking away from home, and it's in a square to Chiron, so it's like it's at odds with the desire to like be self-sustaining and independent and self-reliant and be on your own and really like stick a claim in who you know you are. And it's going to be squaring the sun in Libra. So this is a T-square. It's a T-square with Mars at the top and then Chiron in Aries and the sun in Libra, with Juno also at 22 degrees Libra. And Mercury will have just entered Scorpio at that same, I think the day before, on the 13th. So Mercury in Scorpio is going to really express those, or like ask those pointed questions, those, you know, it'll be kind of like a tongue lashing maybe. It can be pretty sharp. You just have to like watch out for others' unawareness of this kind of energy. You know, if you are aware of this, then it's kind of like, you know, with great knowledge comes great power. So you have the awareness and therefore the capability to respond accordingly, or, you know, not respond, or, you know, choose your words wisely, pick your battles, you know, just use language that will be productive and that will ideally leave the other person in better condition than how you found them, if that makes sense. You know, just like really flexing those compassion muscles. It's all trial and error, so like at least if we can try to do that, we're learning those skills and developing those skills to be better and maybe inspire other people to also approach difficult situations the same way. And yeah, these are challenging energies, you know, not gonna lie, especially if you are one of the cardinal signs: Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, Aries. And if you are an Aries or a Scorpio, Mars rules your chart. So this is, you know, you've probably been feeling this for a while, especially depending on what degrees are in your chart. Right now, Mars is at, let's see, 16 degrees and conjunct the United States secondary progress Jupiter. But yeah, Mars is like a huge player this year, a huge energy to mine. And Mars again is aggression. It could be weapons, it can be sharp objects, could be fire. I mean, I really feel like with the heat and everything, it's been nice, you know, like to have this kind of contrast in San Francisco, because it's rare kind of weather to have like that kind of heat. And I'm from South Carolina, like, you know, it's nice because I know it's not going to stay this way. Like even today, it got kind of cool, like 71 degrees when the sun was going down, and I was like, the contrast is nice. The heat, you know, over the past week has been able to like make me sweat and like sweat out some toxins, also burn away, you know, like burn off what no longer serves. And it's been quite synchronistic with all of the things that are going on with the Libra South Node solar eclipse, also with Mercury right there too, like the sun burning away those self-limiting beliefs, unproductive emotions. And this is something to this is something that you can like write down and release, you know, like manifest what you want to release, as opposed to manifesting what you want to begin, because this kind of energy is like a draining kind of energy, especially with the South Node there. So yeah, those are just some of the things that I was noticing, just like hearing all of the, I don't know, tragedy that's going on in the United States. Like we think that it's a natural disaster, but it's actually manipulated. I mean, it could very well be a natural disaster, but it's manipulating nature. I wonder if that is also connected to Uranus in sextile to Neptune, because like all of these energies can have, you know, high vibe, low vibe, or, you know, light versus shadow manifestations. Also, you know, with Pluto in the mix as well. But yeah, I mean, we can really harness this energy in a positive way, if we can feed this kind of energy with visualizing the like best outcome, you know, instead of feeding into the fear, replace it with like, I trust that, you know, we are moving in our highest timeline, and, you know, basically everything is as it should be, and, you know, love and, you know, the most highest frequencies will prevail. So if we can just keep that in mind, and Pam Gregory has kind of spearheaded, or like, you know, put out the idea to do this collective manifestation on Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which I believe is 7 p.m. UK time, but, you know, like, check your time zones, but using that collective energy to bring into existence and manifest the most highest, most beautiful outcomes from all of the events that have been happening. And yeah, justice will be served, truth will prevail. You know, we have to keep that energy of trust like up and alive, because the use of fear has already been overused, and that's how the powers that currently are have been able to stay in power and collect on this fear-based system. And you have to remember, like, you can't be arrested if there's no victim. Like, if nobody's gotten hurt, then you can't be arrested. If you don't pay your bill, they can't arrest you. They can only threaten to arrest you, and they can be, you know, bullies and manipulative, and, you know, like, send you threatening letters, you know, but they can't put you in jail for a victimless crime. So that is something to learn to like, not fear, and any threats of that can be litigated. You know, there's a process, and this process has been positioned and framed to be so intimidating, but yeah, don't fall for it. You know, there's more of us than there are them, and Mars opposed Pluto is going to show up in multiple ways, in the best ways. So yeah, just be mindful and practice those grounding practices. Gosh, there's just so much going on. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully, you know, it wasn't too much rambling. It's been an intense eclipse season. I mean, it's still kind of in play. We have an Aries full moon in a couple of weeks too, and hopefully I'll have the energy to talk about that. In the meantime, let's see. You know, we have Venus trining Saturn, Venus and Scorpio trining Saturn, and Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So that can be like a really serious commitments, serious emotional depth and intensity. But it's in a good way. Like, there's like commitments and like in for the long haul kind of relationship energy, or like projects, which I feel like ties into, you know, the disaster relief that a lot of people in North Carolina are taking on themselves to like really commit to one another, and realizing that, you know, trust in the government is an illusion. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to mention. October 6th, Mars in Cancer will be squaring Mercury in Libra. So that's another thing, another energy to watch out for. Could be like emotional defensiveness. Just really think before you speak. Like, Mercury in Libra doesn't usually like to rock the boat, and I think Mars in Cancer is going to want to initiate honest conflicts. So I mean, it could be uncomfortable, it could be challenging, but there can probably be a lot of forward motion. You know, there could be a lot of it can be a productive conversation, especially with Mars being the ruler of the North Node. It's going to be at 19 degrees, which relates to Libra. again, to do with relationships, and you know, the South Node is still in Libra, so we're doing a lot of releasing and letting go and realizing, you know, I call this like a graceful clearing. So we're realizing, you know, like what needs to be released, and we're doing it gracefully, because that's what Libra is. And we're giving each other grace as well. You know, we're realizing that conditions have changed, and so we have to adjust also. So, all right, hopefully that made sense, and hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully I get this up in a decent amount of time, like an appropriate amount of time. Hopefully I get this up in time. So yeah, thank you always for listening, and hope to see you on the next one. All the best, take care of one another, and much love. Ciao.